And we are live.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody?
Fantastic.
Blessed.
Good.
Great. Everybody got all their stuff where it's supposed to be and ready to rock and roll tonight.
Yep.
I'm here.
All right. Well, thank everybody. I can't see like if anybody's joined or not, but whatever. We'll go with it. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ronni Welcher, and we have been doing these Monday night live discussions the last few months. And tonight's topic, I'm so excited for it. It is healing what we tried to hide. This topic is powerful because addiction, trauma, shame, fear, guilt, and resentment often and pain often grow in the dark. Recovery begins when we stop hiding and start healing. Now I'm gonna pause there and we can does anybody got anything on that?
Well, I would like to know why you picked this topic for myself.
Okay. We just randomly pick topics every week, and it kind of hit hard because through the beginning of my journey, I really hit a lot of things. Like I thought I could pick and choose what I could expose. I thought I could put my skeletons in the closet and bury them, and nobody would know, and I never had to look at that again. But then I realized, every time I'd open my closet, skeletons would fall out. And farther in my journey, and not just in recovery, but in, being a Christ believer, I've learned that as long as your, closet is full of that negativity and those skeletons, and what are skeletons? You know what I mean? When you even think about it, skeletons are scary and creepy and demonic, and people only use them on Halloween and stuff. So they're obviously not good. So that is why I realized, well, these are bad things, and I need to get them out in order to free up. So that's what I had to do. I had to learn to start exposing those nasty, dirty, grimy things that I never wanted to tell anybody about, but those were what was keeping me sick the most. And then once I I got it out, I realized there were so many other people that was, in the same boat as me or had experienced some things, and I wasn't alone. And that was more encouraging.
It's freeing, right?
Absolutely.
And you don't stay moldy.
So I'll speak on that. Like I'm 10 months and 20 days clean today. And if anybody don't know, my name is Matthew, and I am a grateful recovering addict. And I do work the Narcotics Anonymous program. And so these skeletons I had in my closet, like when I first started in my recovery, I used to push them to the side, and thinking that I can live life better without worrying about them, and I used to just like hold them in deeply and wouldn't talk to nobody about it, and it was when I did a character defect check, that these things started popping out more and more, and now still to the day in my recovery, I still work on these things because there's some things that I told myself I would take to the grave that I wouldn't tell nobody about, and once I started talking about them and releasing them, the more productive I got in day-to-day life, the more healing occurred, and leaving it to God, most importantly. My higher power I serve today is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And through the 12 steps and my higher power, it became a burden lifted off of my chest, like it's things like with mom and dad and the lifestyle I lived and like grieving the chaos and these things, like it's so easy for me to push it to the side than focus on it, and that's where my struggle started coming back, like just pushing it away and digging deep down inside of myself and being grateful for these things occurring in my life in the past to where I'm at in the future today is the biggest blessing I can have today. It's helped me grow in so many aspects of life. It's helped me love myself, most importantly, and these skeletons, they're going to continue to fall out the closet as long as I keep working this process. I know things tools in that toolbox that I can use today, most importantly, reaching out, most importantly, and praying is one of the biggest tools I have to help me through these things, you know. And I don't express this enough, you know, throughout the TikTok platform and throughout the process that I work today. These things help me grow, you know, the pain that I've been through, the things that happened to me as a kid and in my life coming up to where I'm at today is what's motivating me to grow more in my recovery and to reach out to people outside of just recovery doors, you know, like people in the streets, people on TikTok that needed helping them get into places. It's giving me the benefit of the doubt to be a part of something today. You know, I get to be a part of something today. And I love that aspect of that. You know, my skeletons make me stronger, you know, and thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely. Once you expose them, right?
Yeah, once you expose them, you know, it's like it's no turning back, because now the process of healing starts, you know. And I look, once I expose these skeletons, it's like, man, what do I have to do to get through them now? You know, what do I have to do to properly work on them now? You know, and yeah, it's like the exposing them is just the start, you know. It's working through them that is the finished process, you know. Because look, it's easy to forgive. Most importantly, I have to forgive myself once I open these skeletons, you know, to forgive others, you know, because I have a part in them too. You know, it's not just that one side. I have a part in them skeletons too, and I have to own up and accept it, you know, and then grow through it, you know. But yeah, once you open them up, it ain't no setting them back to the side. It's getting through them and learning from them.
That's right. Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Can she hear me?
I don't know.
Can you hear Tracy?
I
Tracy.
don't know. Tracy?
I can't hear
Tracy,
you guys.
can you hear us? You can't hear?
I don't
I know, I
know.
couldn't hear Matt. I couldn't hear a word he said either.
I don't know what's going on.
No, I'm not muted. It's not down
Go.
there.
Okay.
Go out and come back in. Let's see.
Can you guys
Come on
hear me
now.
at all?
Oh, now I can.
I can't hear you guys.
We're not talking. Let you talk.
Weird. Oh, wait. I can hear
Oh, wait.
Kirk,
Cool.
Hey, Kirk.
but I can't hear anybody else.
You're talking. You got to talk now on skeletons.
Kurt, can you hear us?
I can.
Tell her to
Awesome.
talk. It's her turn to share.
Yeah, tell her. For real, tell her. Tell her it's her turn to share. She can't hear us.
Hey,
Can you hear-
Tracy.
Yeah, can you hear them? Kirk?
I can. Yeah. They were
I
saying
can't.
it's your turn to share.
Oh, my
Share.
turn to share. Okay, I can't hear anybody, but I will share. And I wanted to add, I was gonna say mold grows in the dark. Whatever you're struggling with and you keep it locked up inside, it's just gonna keep festering and growing and growing and growing. And eventually it really will take control of your mind, your thoughts, and even make you physically sick. Your secrets, your pain, your hurt, your trauma, things that you don't talk about, things that you don't release, things that you don't address and face. If you keep shoving them down and shoving them down, they will grow and they get moldy, and it makes you sick. It really does.
Absolutely.
There's some Bible verses I wrote down, and I'm currently working on step 11. And the devotional this past week is called Powerful Secrets. I was going to read it real quick if that's okay.
Yeah.
I can't hear you guys, so I'm just
Yes.
going by like your. All right. So the secrets we hide have enormous power in our lives. How many of our addictive compulsive behaviors have been hidden or covered up? When we took the step and admitted the exact nature of our addictions to another person, we were probably amazed at the way the addiction lost its power as it was exposed. The power of hidden behaviors and secrets can work for us as well as they will against us. The psalmist wrote this prayer to God: I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. Psalms 119:11. If we hide God's word in our heart by memorizing and meditating on it, we will find new power to keep our minds and hearts clean. The power of secrets will also work to our advantage in our prayer lives. Jesus taught us that when you pray, go by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. then your Father who sees everything will reward you. That's Matthew 6:6. When we begin to spend time and shut away ourselves with God in prayer and meditation, we find that power. We find His power working in us and for us.
Yes, love it, love it, love it, love it.
For me, I gotta look at why I want to keep those things secret. And for me,
Kirk,
all
you're
of
my
that,
interpreter. I can't hear nothing.
all of it is based in fear for me.
Fear.
I'm going to kick her from the studio and make her come back in.
All right.
She won't understand. What did you do to me? But yeah, I have all these fears that I need to face. And when coming into recovery, I had a history of failure. Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
You can hear it.
Yes.
I have a history.
Oh yes, yes, we're listening. Yeah, I'm here. I hear you.
A track record of failure, right? And I had to come to realize that everything I did was under the influence of something, right? And for me, it's really, really impossible to make good decisions and process things when I'm under the influence of something else. So I had to forgive myself for that. And then, exposing my secrets to somebody, my sponsor, trusted friend, it's like a confessional. There's a reason why the Catholics use a confessional. So you can purge yourself of these things, these limiting beliefs that you're not worthy, you're not capable, and you will always fail. And those are lies that our addiction tell ourselves. So when we venture out in early recovery, we start facing these small fears. And once we do that, we start building momentum to face the bigger fears and go on and on and on. And once I started sharing my character defects, my misgivings, the things that I was most ashamed of, the person I was talking to said, yes, I relate to that. And they shared with me things that they had done. And it made me feel like, well, maybe I'm not so messed up. Maybe I'm not so far from the solution at this time that I can actually move forward. And then once I get all of this fear and negativity out of me and believing that I'm alone, I'm the only one that's ever done this stuff, it becomes more of an attraction thing, and you're able to share honestly with another human being. You're able to practice the first step of recovery, which is spiritual principle, is honesty. If we're not able to be honest with ourselves, there's no chance in the world that we'll ever be honest with anybody else. And we'll never be able to have healthy relationships. We'll never be able to achieve our goals and dreams. And from my perspective, anyways, this is a cleansing and purging of this ugliness that's festered within us for so long. This spiritual malady, right? That I'm ugly, I'm evil, I'm worthless, I'm so ashamed of every aspect of my life, and I'll never ever be able to overcome this. And it's all a lie that our addiction tells us. Our addiction wants us seized up, isolated, alone in suffering as long as possible until it takes our life. And
So, not to cut you off, I want to ask you something about that inner spiritual malady, and I learned, and it's not to.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Can you guys hear me still?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Good.
So
so with all of that being said, well, Kirk, do you want to share? Sorry.
No, I was just saying thumbs up. I can hear you.
But do you want to share? We went around. Do you want to share though?
You guys go ahead. I can share in a few here if that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine. So then you guys kind of hit like some really big points on like some of my notes. Like, so for instance, I put many of us become experts at hiding pain, hiding relapse, hiding trauma, hiding loneliness, hiding anger, hiding who we really are. But what stays hidden often continues to hurt us. Healing starts with honesty. I heard that. Surrender, accountability. You know what I mean? So we have to start somewhere. And it's all like, for me, it was, I really had to, get it out. And then I had to learn to forgive myself and then start like the healing process. And it has been a very long journey. Like I'm almost 8 years in recovery, and it's like very often like God will expose something that I still need to work on. So what I've realized is I'm going to be working on myself every day. We do the steps every day. You don't have to be an addict, an alcoholic, or anything like that to work the steps. And that's something else, a way to live. I just I just feel that it's more of like a healing, cleansing,
There's a digitized voice.
process.
Oh, Ronnie. Ronnie, I'm gonna have to kick you out and have you come back here. Are you there?
Oh my gosh.
So real quick, Matthew had a question he wanted to bring to the group.
Yeah, this inner spiritual malady, the ism, to the process that I started with Alcoholics Anonymous. This is how I learned about the ism. And then I went to Narcotics Anonymous here recently, about 3 weeks ago. But when I was in Alcoholics Anonymous, I learned about this thing called an ism, this inner spiritual malady, and it's whatever spirituality you believe in. I don't care what it is, as long as it's a power greater than yourself. And I learned that Matthew was spiritually broken, and that the spirituality I believed in the most was myself. I believed in that I was the God, and when I learned about the spirituality that I serve today, I truly believe that his will is what's guided me through life today, in my recovery, and this ism that I suffered from, I was bankrupt. I knew nothing about it. I learned about my spirituality once I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, because I was a non-believer. I didn't believe in a higher power. I didn't believe in none of that. And there was these groups on Facebook that really taught me, like Miss Tracy and her old man, and another group that I was in, God Bless Recovery, God Base Recovery, that taught me about this inner spiritual malady, and like I'm one that I don't care what walk of life you come from, what recovery process you work. It could be medical assistant treatment. It could be Cali sober, whatever's keeping you clean today, but there's something outside of your will that's helping you. That's this inner spiritual malady that they talk about, this ism. And it don't just have to be with alcohol. It could be with drugs too, rugs. I got to talk this way because of TikTok, but rugs, so I had to learn about this spirituality, which I call my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, to help me live life, which helps me through my fears, my struggles, whatever it is that I'm going through, guides me through these things. And I got to keep this faith, this thing they call faith is this trust. I have trust in this higher power, just like I have trust in my support system, so with that trust, I'm able to walk life and lean on something, other than myself. So leaning on this higher power, I could get through struggles today. I could get through pain. I could get through whatever challenges come my way. And I know he's going to control it. The only thing I can control today is what's in my control, and that's working this process, this general process of recovery, the 12 steps, and half the time that's not even in my control. That's my God doing for me what I cannot do for myself, and
Say something real quick.
well,
And it doesn't even have to be about
Jim.
drugs or alcohol.
1 second. Somebody, y'all mute up. Y'all mute up. We're not talking on TikTok right now. I'm sorry, guys. But this higher power that is doing for me what I can't do for myself. I have to keep that faith. That faith, I have to keep it no matter what, no matter what. And that's what I believe in today that keeps me clean and sober through this 12-step process is my spirituality, my God, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But do I believe other people have other spiritualities? Yes, I do. Yes,
Whatever
I do.
works
And
for
I
them,
accept
right?
that. Whatever
That
works for
part.
them. I accept that. You
As
know,
long as
I
their
don't
higher power isn't themselves or their ego,
facts.
pride,
Yes.
Come on.
or a doorknob. I don't like that.
You know what? That's what my counselor told me in the beginning. Like, even if it's a doorknob, and my husband was like, "No, you don't need this. You know, doorknob."
You know, I believed in the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous before I believed in the spirituality. That was my higher power. That's
Mhm.
what that's what
that
The
gift of
support.
desperation, group of drunks,
facts.
whatever the acronym for God is, if it
Mhm.
works for you, embrace that.
Mm.
Because once you take yourself out of the equation, your ego, your mind will open up to other things, which means you see things more clearly. And I know a lot of people that were agnostics or atheists, and they've completely transformed and changed their perspective of things and came to believe that there is an actual higher power like Jesus, God, or whatever, a divine sense of whatever creation.
Mm.
Right. And that's the hope in the message. There's a message of hope. You know, when they say keep coming back, it works if you work it. There's a message in that. There's a message, and it's the message of hope. And that's what I
That
believed in.
part.
I believed in that until I found my spirituality. Was that message of hope. Keep coming back because it works if you work it. I still believe in that today. I still believe in that. Real
Amen.
talk. And
I
it's
do too.
amazing what it could do.
Telling you.
Absolutely. And then when you, what about like how important is a community in this whole
Man,
process?
look at this.
Oh,
I can't express this. I can't express this enough. A community is the
come on.
sole foundation of recovery.
Come on.
A
Right there.
community is the sole foundation of recovery. Without a community, how could you do this alone?
Come
You
on. You
cannot.
can't. We didn't. We didn't.
It's facts.
We're
I
not
need
doing
somebody
it,
to
are
lean
we?
on. We're not doing it. You know, if I say I'm doing this by myself and it without a we program, how the fuck am I doing something? You know, like what am I doing really besides hurting myself? Because then my control is in control. I need people to lean on. I
Mhm.
do. I don't hold them as
Yes.
codependency, but I need people to learn from. I need people to guide me. I need people to teach me. I need people that's willing and open-minded just as well as I am. Because how else
We
am I
need
supposed to learn
examples.
something? Facts.
We need
Teachers.
examples of recovery. If you want to find recovery, you have to surround yourself with others that have found it, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
fact. It's them
Relatable
old
people who've
timers.
been through
Right.
it.
It's them
Yep.
old timers. Them
Hey,
old
Ed,
timers are who set that path for me. You know, if I can't listen to the
Amen.
old timers, then who am I going to listen to? Because then it's the
That's
blind
right.
leading the blind, you know, like
Come on,
at
brother.
the end of
Talk
the
about it.
day, that's facts.
Amen.
you
It's the
know,
blind leading the blind.
yeah, I have to surround myself with people that know more than I do.
That
Because
part.
I got to be honest with you. If I had the answers in my head all along, I would have figured this out a long time ago. But I'm not that smart. You know,
Bam.
I just keep trying to do the same thing in a different way and get a new version of the old pain. Right,
Facts.
Yeah.
Tracy?
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce your guest there?
Yes. This is my husband, Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi,
Hey,
hi,
how's it going?
Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you think of our conversation?
So it goes back to, honesty is in order for us to see that we have a problem, is we got to be honest that we have a problem. And
Yes, sir.
for me, mine was alcoholism, and my pride kept me I thought everybody else had to work on their stuff, and I didn't have to work on my own. I did the things I did was because of the other people around me. It's like, I drank because my wife was nagging at me or bitching at me. I look at pornography because my wife was holding. I did all these things. I made all these irrational decisions in my head that I
Naughty
do this
Tracy.
because other people. You know what I mean? And then I had to realize, you don't do it because anybody around you is making you do that. You're doing it because you make yourself do it.
Just making excuses, right?
I'm making excuses for myself. I drank before she came along. I looked at pornography before she came along. I did all the bad habits before she came along. But it was a lot easier to point the finger at somebody else than it was for me to point the finger at myself.
Right.
And
we need scapegoats, right?
Yeah, and
justify our behavior that's failing at every aspect.
Accountability.
And then once
that part.
Once I started being honest, and like it says in John 8, the truth will set you free. Is that once I'm honest with myself and I know the truth about the shape I was really in, and I started to, I go to when I was going to AA classes, I was starting doing my step recovery work. I've started to, put the work into my recovery program, that it set me free. And Jesus set me free, but he gave me the willpower to do the work in me so that I could carry it out and get the action done.
Absolutely.
What is the message? What is a message without a message?
That part. It's nothing.
A silent messenger.
It's nothing. It's my answer.
Which is what my life consisted of during my active addiction. One failure after another. Failure after another. I was running. I wanted to run the show. I didn't know how to surrender, to be honest with you, or give absolute and total surrender. I wanted to dictate the terms of my surrender. You know
one foot in, 1 foot out. You want to be a lukewarm. Yeah.
I only wanted to surrender what I wanted to surrender. I didn't want to surrender at all.
Come on, that part right there.
Yeah, because there's some character defects I still like, right?
Absolutely. For sure. So real quick with you guys saying that, I wrote some notes down. I just want to pull these out. Healing requires honesty. Look how we're all in the same brainwave. Recovery begins when we tell the truth. We cannot heal when we refuse to acknowledge things. Vulnerability is strength, not weakness. And honesty breaks chains. Bam, I'm done.
And secrets create stronger strongholds.
Yes.
If you have a stronghold and you keep your secrets, your strongholds will get stronger.
Yeah, look, and if you keep your secrets, they keep you sick. They shame and isolate us. Well, we wore masks to surrender, and many of us feared being truthfully seen. I know I did. I didn't want nobody to see me for who I really was. I tried to keep that mask on, and if I lost that mask, I tried to put on another one.
What the fuck is honesty when I'm in my addiction? The lie was honesty. The lie
there was no honesty,
There's none.
The lie, I believed it as it was the truth, but when I come into recovery, I believed that the lie was fable and that honesty was so freely given. That's all I had to do was accept it, and live it, regardless if I'm right or wrong. I just live in my truth. And accept it for what it is, regardless if it's fault or honesty, if it's fact or fiction, just live it, accept it, hold yourself accountable and move on about it. Nobody's going to look at you differently. They're going to respect you more.
Only
an alcoholic or an addict would refuse to give up a life of failure without without a fight.
Facts. That's facts.
Refuse to give up a life of failure without a fight, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's my comfortability. That's where I'm comfortable at. I'm so comfortable in hiding behind the truth
Yes.
that when the truth comes out, it becomes this uncomfortable thing. And it's like, man, this
Mm.
is what it really feels like to be at peace. You know, like me telling my truth is peace. You know, I'd rather be at peace today than being that lie. You know, as hard as it is at times, because it's so easy to beat around the bush and skip through that vine, you know, whereas then when I tell the truth, everything is so much better. It's the suggestion.
And it takes us out of
Absolutely.
that fight or flight.
Yes.
It takes practice, right? Because lying
yes.
is so ingrained in us through our our addictive behaviors, getting what we had to get, doing what we had to do, and we dress everything up to make it seem like it works to our advantage, but it never really does, right?
Right.
So,
And I always tell people, like, when they start exposing things, like, I cheer them on and remind them, like, or them, like, that's so encouraging. It's so strong of you to come forward and expose something and reveal a secret. So no matter what it is, you know what I mean? I just look at them like, because I remember how I felt and how scared I was trying to expose anything. I didn't care who it was. I was just scared. I was so nervous and like crazy, but I just learned by getting it out, like it's just a lot better, like Matt said, and Tracy and all of us. Once you get it out, you just become free. And I didn't know real freedom until like I said, I took a shovel and cleaned out my closet, you know what I mean? But like you really have, and so that's why when people come to me, I'm just like, listen, like, I am not here to judge you. I have done the most.
So do you realize, I don't know if people realize this, but coming up in life, lying is a learned behavior.
Yeah.
Lying is a learned behavior. You know, I'm only doing what I was taught, you know. I'm only comfortable at the behaviors that I was taught in life, you know, whereas an honesty is freely given to us, you know. We the ones that choose to live on that behavior that we learned because that's comfortable to us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Kirk, what do you think about this conversation? Your pathway to recovery is your faith, right?
Yeah, honestly, I'm taking in a lot tonight, and it's amazing. Matthew Thomas touched on something actually that's so true. Honesty. You know what I mean? It's not easy. For me today, I'll share a bit. So I'm actually it's wild. I'm 290 days, or sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm 190 days today, no alcohol.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah.
and every day I thank God for that. I'll tell you, part of my journey, my learning curves with Jesus right now is stepping out in faith into a world that hates him. Really learning discernment with his Holy Spirit. And I'll tell you, it's wild. The groups that we've had, Sister Tracy Hughes, Brother Matthew Thomas, I met Brother Matthew Thomas as well. And, Maddie Ice, 1990, Sister Cami, and yourself, Brother Robin. You guys are really, every time, God has put this group together and the right people. And I'm encouraged, because I have days, I face persecution for his name's sake. I go to work and he lights me up like a candle, Jesus. And, it's encouraging though that the right people want to hear it and want to see it. I had actually a really amazing conversation today with a brother at work. And, he says, brother, he says, I get tired of hearing you preaching, man. And a lot of people do. And, it's cool because being reminded. They hated Jesus for truth, and this world still does. And it's not us they hate; it's Jesus in us. And I'll tell you, it's these encouraging, humbling moments. I'll share. Women is a weakness for me. I've been overcoming, actually doing great with pornography. That's been a struggle, and it's like he talked about honesty. I'm really learning about being honest about my mistakes. Wolves in sheep's clothing. People will cling. I mean, there's brother Matt, Thomas Smith and brother Sean Ryan are two bold soldiers. I love them. I love what God's doing in their life, how bold they are. And, through their group, there was a few people that really, Satan's crafty. He's around that corner constantly. And I'm constantly being reminded, he wants to steal this joy, the joy of the Lord. And not to dig holes, but thank him where I'm overcoming. Grace is not a license to sin, but it's humbling that he knows our hearts. He knows, Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. We're born into the sinful world, into the sinful nature through the fall of Adam and Eve. And, it's so important to constantly, be teachable, being reminded of things. When I was in Nova Scotia, I had 10 months clean alcohol. And I'll tell you, the devil, when I slipped, when I moved, when he blessed me, God, to move up to Dalhousie, New Brunswick, I struggled. The devil was on me like butter on rice, saying, look at you, man. You had 10 months clean. You had a year clean. And I'll tell you, every day, above all, I give God the praise and glory, because every time the devil tried to get me down, God was right there lifting up my soul and going, yeah, I'm not done with him yet, as he's not done with us all. So
yep, that's that guilt, shame, and remorse that comes from the enemy that keeps people stuck in that. So I really believe that we need to be an example of recovery for other people.
Amen.
I heard a key word that Kirk said real quick: discernment. A lot of people don't realize that discernment starts within and with yourself. It's reading yourself before you're able to read others. It's knowing your weaknesses and your flaws before you can read others' weaknesses and flaws. Discernment starts within. And when it starts within, then you're more prospered to others. Then you can read others better. Because how are you going to know somebody's weaknesses if you don't know your own?
Yep.
Exactly.
So it's also about learning to trust your gut instinct too. I could not trust my own thinking. I couldn't trust my choices I made because of it. I had such a history of making bad decisions, in an impaired state of mind, that I thought that was going to be my history. That's the way it's always going to be. I'm never going to be able to have clarity. I'm never going to have that. I heard somebody else talk about being free. That freedom, the freedom that comes with being in recovery is priceless to me today, because I wanted to be free. I wanted to break those shackles of addiction and all the other character defects. Like, I share many of the same as you guys as well, and doing whatever it took to get my next one and to make sure that I was never sick. And it's just, I had to learn to trust my gut instinct, because my gut instinct is usually pretty on when I'm sober minded. When I'm high, drunk or high, I have such a hard time differentiating the true from the false that it doesn't matter.
Lovely.
Everybody lovely.
That's a love language to me. Lying used to be a love language to me. And I'm
Thank you for sharing
facts.
that. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can still hear you. And you're over there.
So I got something else. It says darkness loses power when exposed to truth, support, accountability, and God's healings. And then I have two scriptures. The first one is Psalms 107, 19, 20. And it says, then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them from their distress. He sent out his word, and he healed them. And then I have one more. It says, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. James 5:16. Man, I pray for everybody every day. I think about everybody every day. And some days, of course, there's so many, we can't do all their names, but we can do recovery community. And, That's one thing I've really learned in recovery too, to, not be as selfish as I was and so self-centered and only worrying about Ronnie. Like I never knew how to pray for anybody. Like you said, Higgy, I didn't know how to have both feet in. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Like when I got in recovery, I thought, or even, recovery, because before it was recovery, and then recovery is what led me to God and to my faith. Like people kept trying to pressure me with God, and I wasn't having it. Like I was all against it at first because people were trying to like Bible me to death, and I'm like, look, bro, I don't know what this Bible life is ever about. You can't push it down my throat. I'm gonna leave recovery. Like I'm just being honest. We run an honest program, and then and then I started talking to other people like Drew Hicks and stuff, and Matt Traver, and just other people. And you, Higgy, like you have been such an inspiration to me. You know what I mean? Like if I look at you and somebody were to ever say, how could you describe Higgy? I would say in 3 words, never give up. Like I have watched you just continue to go and go and go and go and go. And it's just so admirable for you to do that. And you, even through and see, that's another thing I admire about you. And I mean, I know it's God working through you, but even through your struggles, you helped people. Even during your sick time, you never gave up. Like you were always there, So that's hard to do, is take care of you and then take care of the world, because you know what I mean? But I've just seen that, and man, I'm just so grateful that you're here, and you've taught me, and I'm sure you've taught so many others.
I wanted to piggyback on something real quick, guys.
You're welcome.
A few moments ago, Kirk had said something, and I don't remember what it was, but it it made me think, you said the devil was on your back constantly, trying to get you down, trying to make you feel guilty and shameful. And then Matthew also had said something too. I don't remember what it was, but I just wanted to read this real quick because on my notes I wrote down transparency. And when you're transparent in any step of your recovery, people are not going to like it, because you're reflecting back the things that they struggle with, and it's going to irritate them very much. So John 12:35 says, walk while you have the light just a little while longer. Walk in the light before darkness overtakes you. The man who walks in dark does not know where he's going. Put your trust in the light while you still have it, so that you may become sons of light. And at the end of that verse, I had my little note of transparency. And since I started doing the 12-step recovery program, it has really taught me the gospel in a whole new way. When I got to step 4, right up until now, I feel like a completely different person. And today, I don't care what anybody says about me, what I did in my past, because I'll tell you what I did in my past right to your face, because I live in that transparency, and there's nothing that nobody can say or do to hold over my head anymore. Not about my pain, not about my trauma, not about what I did when I was addicted, anything.
Absolutely. We can't help other people by pretending to be perfect. You know what I mean?
Facts. Because if I'm perfect, why do I need anybody else to guide me or to help me through my struggles? I'm perfect.
Right.
I know everything.
I don't have any struggles. What are you
I don't
talking
have
about?
any character defects.
Yeah, I'm perfect.
I never
that denial aspect, right?
So look,
you have the problem, not me.
I want to touch on something real quick, because Miss Tracy and Miss Ronni, they introduced me to the Life Recovery 2nd Edition Bible, and since I've been reading out of this book, it's been wonderful, because not only does it work right alongside with the 12 steps, it's changed my life and my spirituality. Like it's given me a different perspective in my recovery and in spirituality too. It's helping me grow. But I learned a lot about who he is and what he does for a person like me. I'm gonna speak for me, not I could speak for everybody, but I'm gonna speak for me. What he does for a person like me, what he died on that cross for, and like it's amazing to know that a person like me that's been through this gang related lifestyle, been through prison and everything, that I still get grace today. I still
Absolutely.
deserve grace today, you know, and that's a
It's,
blessing,
ava-
you know,
it's
that's a
available for all of
miracle.
us, right? It's
Facts. And
available for all of
we
us.
gotta work for it. You know, some days we gotta work for it, you know, but it's given to us freely, you know, and that grace that's given to me, I could freely give to somebody
Yep.
else,
Yeah.
you know. And Miss Tracy and Miss Ronnie introduced me to this book because I used to tell them when I went in on these Facebook groups and stuff like that, and even in the meetings, like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? What is that? You know, like, but as I started learning and learning and learning, I see what it's doing for me. You know, my God moves mountains for me today. Since I've been in recovery, I got my 3 kids back, my 3 oldest kids. By the grace of
Amen.
God, I got them back and they're
Amen.
here with me, and I have full custody of them now. You know,
Amen. Good.
and this is, you know, I deserve these things today. I
Yes.
deserve them, you know, and he shows me this daily, you know, and I put that work in. Don't let me say that I don't. I put that work in on the and behind the scenes of TikTok. Miss Ronnie's been in some of these rooms, man. I be trying to get her up in the boxes, but she'd be in the middle of doing something. But she's been in these rooms and she sees the work that me and my team do over here on this platform. You know, I couldn't do this if I wasn't working on myself. I couldn't do this.
Absolutely.
I couldn't do this. You know, that's my God doing for me what I can't do for myself.
You know,
And
you'll be
whatever.
able,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say you'll be amazed what you can accomplish when you stay spiritually fit.
Yeah.
You know, the things that used to drown me are things that I enjoy doing today. You know, and it takes practice, it takes repetition, it takes educating myself, like you're doing with the Bible. You know, you're gaining knowledge that you can use, which you can transfer on to other people. You know, that's part of the community, right? We don't do this alone, because by myself,
Yeah, we can't.
I will fail every time.
Thanks.
You know, I'll end up sponsoring myself and not going to meetings, and when I sponsor myself, I have a fool for a sponsor, right?
Look at
That
this.
part.
I only give away what's freely given to me. I give away what's freely given to me. You know, the biggest part is if it's that I'm not allowing it to seep in, how could I allow it to seep out? You know, how could I allow it to seep out? It's got to seep in, and I got to understand what I'm being taught in order to give it away. You know, because it's easier to say, oh yeah, I'm learning this, and it come off of my tongue and like I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But what is my action showing? What is my action showing? You know, my feet are touching the ground, or is it just my mouth running? You know,
Does your feet match your mouth?
facts. You know,
Does your
like
audio match your video?
facts.
That
Look, I can
part.
have audio. I can have audio all day. You know, but what the video showing? You know,
Let's talk
like
about
what is
I just want to give a shout out to Sarah Jane. She is now a published author of her poetry. You know,
Awesome.
Yes. Awesome,
Talk
girl.
congratulations.
talk about lost dreamed awakened.
That's
You know, it's
beautiful.
just powerful.
Awesome.
I like how
So
she said,
inspiring.
I like how she said, yes, we could publish a book, but like, I forgot how it was just said. It just went off. If somebody could read it for me, how she said, yes, I could publish a book. It says Matthew's having it says, yes, I could publish a book and lost dreams awaken. Matthew having
That's
his
right.
family is beautiful.
That's so
What's
right.
up. Thank you, Miss Jen. Thank you so much, Miss Jen. You guys are all amazing on here. You know, like you guys are.
That's the promises coming true, right?
Yeah.
True
Right.
blessing.
But I
True
have to
blessing.
live them principles. I have to live them principles for them promises to come true. I could be over here saying I'm living the principles, but where's the promises that are going to show for them? You know, and this is plain as day. If I wasn't living these principles in my program and all of my affairs, why are these promises showing up?
So I want to ask a quick question of the group. Before I do that, I want you guys to go around and introduce yourselves, say where you're from, and how much recovery time you have. Kirk, start with you. Introduce yourself.
My name's Kirk Hollett. I'm currently living in Dalhousie, New Brunswick, and I'm 9 months, or keep getting ahead of myself. Forgive me, Lord. I'm 6 months, no alcohol today, a year, no marijuana, about over a month, no cigarettes, and about 4 years, no heavy drugs. And I praise God, thank Him for that.
Go, man. Let's go.
Congratulations,
So-
Matthew.
Thanks.
So my name's Matthew. I am a grateful recovering addict and alcoholic, and I am from Estelle, Louisiana. I have 10 months and 20 days clean and sober today,
Yeah.
and I do work an active 12-step program for Narcotics Anonymous.
Amen. Ronnie, Miss
Awesome.
Ronni Welcher. Ronnie. Oh, Ronnie. Can she hear
Miss
me?
Ronnie, Miss Ronnie, introduce yourself and say where you're from if you can hear us.
You know what? I'm gonna kick her off again.
Yeah,
I make her come back. Okay.
go ahead, Miss Tracy.
Miss Tracy
Hi.
and
Hi,
Go ahead.
Jeff. Hi, I'm Tracy Hughes. I have 15 years since 2011 from street drugs and prescription drugs and alcohol. I've had alcohol maybe a handful of times since then, but I didn't let it take me over. I have February, March, April, May, June. I have 4.5 months clean from medical marijuana since February 2026 with a use of 3 times. And I'm still going and I'm still doing my steps.
Let's
And
go,
I'm from
man.
I'm from New York.
Jeff.
Let's go, man.
4 years clean from alcohol, and I am 5 months sober off of marijuana. I'm from upstate New York.
Amen. Thank you. Ronni Welcher.
Hello, my name is Ronni Welcher, and I'm a grateful person with lived experience. My sobriety date is 3/8/19. I have a little over 7 years sober. I am the founder of Second Chance Recovery, and I am from sorry, I about dropped you. So ill, baby. See, I get excited. So ill, baby. Southern Illinois.
Let's
So-
go, man.
That's right.
Congratulations. My name is Robin Higginbotham. Everybody calls me Higgy. I am I reside in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have 16 months, 21 days, or 506 days in a row, which include weekends. No slips, dips, or weekend trips. I work a program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Well, basically any 12-step program, but I'm a new Christian, baby Christian again, because I found that one of those tracks I couldn't. It didn't serve me. Just faith or just recovery by themselves. So I had to mesh them together to add value to my recovery to help me face my demons, because if I don't expose my demons to the light, they will torture me in the dark, right?
True.
No more locked doors.
And no more
No more locked doors. No more locked doors.
I mean, if you
Thank
think
you.
about it.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Annie. Let me see here. I got to catch up on some comments here. It's Miss Sarah Jane, SJ, 7 years, 3 months, and 28 days and 42 minutes.
Girl,
From
get
New
it.
From New
Okay.
Zealand.
From New
man.
Zealand. I love it. Thank you for tuning in from New Zealand.
She said
Man,
this
let's
is a
Wow.
worldwide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Love it. Love it. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Abigail,
Let's go, SJ.
Abigail says, awesome, Matthew.
Thank you, Miss Abigail. You're a wonderful lady, man. I know you.
Yes, we
Wow.
Miss
love
Abigail
you.
is
We
wonderful.
love
Wow.
her.
You know,
Tracy,
Yes.
inspiring.
Miss Tracy isn't. She is an inspiring
She's
soul.
very
She really is.
inspiring.
My,
We love
my,
Tracy.
Everybody inspires me.
I just want to put this out there for the things that
10,
we
11,
hide.
24, 8 months, something. I can't read the rest of it. I need new glasses. We're not talking about
We
me,
read
though.
the comments, baby.
She's in Boston. She's a Boston hardcore.
Let's go, Boston, man.
3 years,
Boston,
1 month
that's what it
sober
said.
from Missouri. Thank you, Abigail.
Missouri, the show me state, man. The show me
That's right.
state.
She's showing them all right.
That's
Annie, my Buckeye sister says, "Go, Ronnie, go." So this is pretty good live, for pretty much being impromptu. I'm glad we decided to do a roundtable discussion. You know what I mean? We've had some other people
I like
try
these.
to.
Yeah.
What's that?
I like these discussions. I like these
Yes.
discussions. You know why? Because look, it's
Why?
so many different personalities and different walks of life. What does it matter what our opinion? It's our opinion. It's our recovery. It's our way of life. Who likes it? Likes
That
it.
part.
Who don't. At the end of the day, this is what's keeping me clean and sober.
Always
That's
do
right.
This is my journey.
Talk about it.
example.
You
of
know,
our-
I learned
of
something
our
from.
Bros?
Yeah, she froze with her mouth open. Ain't that a lovely shot?
She looks like she ought to have a fish hook in her mouth.
That you know what I learned?
You
What I
guys are.
learned.
But
That's why I love you guys. We keep it real with each other. Let's go.
This recovery process has taught me, opinions are like an asshole.
They are.
They come
Everybody's
every
got
day.
one.
Look,
And it usually
the only
stinks.
thing I gotta, they usually
How does
stink and
assholes
stink.
come every day, bro? I
Look
need
at
to
this.
learn this. I don't
Look,
think my
the-
butthole comes every day.
In fact, the only thing
How are
I
we
gotta
not-
do, the only thing I gotta do is be true to thine own self. That's the only thing I gotta
Bam.
do.
That's right.
It.
Yep.
That's the
Step
only
4,
thing.
come out of hiding. That's
So
Fact.
we
It separates
That
the men
part.
from the boys. You heard me? That's step
Come
4.
on.
Separate the men from the
Come on.
boys.
Come on.
The girls from the women. That gets the
Yep.
truth out of you. Like real
Mhm.
talk. Regardless if you like
Yeah.
it or not, if you work it thoroughly, the truth's coming out.
Mhm.
You're the fucking problem. Matthew's the problem. That's what that step 4 told me. Matthew, you're the fucking problem. Nobody
That
else. You're
part.
the fucking problem. What you're gonna do to fix it now?
The common
What you gonna do to
denominator
fix
in everything is me.
I love
Yeah.
step 4. It's my favorite.
Me.
That fearless
Yep.
self-moral inventory. I love it.
So folks, we are approaching the 1 hour mark, which is perfect time. I want to give you guys each an opportunity to give someone out there a message of hope, a hope shot's what I call them.
Yeah.
Somebody out there that's contemplating, giving recovery a chance or wanting to come back, or somebody's struggling, they're on the fence, they're about ready to go out, or there's other people that are ready to just end themselves. What would you say to somebody out there struggling and give them hope for today? Well, let's start up here in the top with Mr. Kirk. What would you say, brother?
Oh, for me, honestly, having, like you talked about, Higgy, having that faith and actually getting to know Jesus, the real Jesus, I would say keep showing up, keep growing with Jesus. That's the biggest thing I've learned. Your past doesn't define you. We learn by mistakes every day, trial and error.
Absolutely. Okay, Matthew.
So I'm gonna say it as plain as day and as real can get, because this is what my recovery gets to do today with me. I'm gonna say most importantly, be true to thine own self. And if you can't walk these struggles or these burdens alone, come let me walk them with you, and I'll help you and guide you through them. That's what I get to do today in my recovery, and that's my word. I will help you and guide you through them struggles and burdens today. Call on me. I got you.
Bam.
Amen.
Tracy.
Oh man, I would really just let anybody know that's struggling. Don't be ashamed of it. And if there's any ounce that you have in you that you know you can take control, be your own advocate, and just
Facts.
go to the very first person that comes to your mind that you know would help you.
Absolutely. Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the first thing that you got to do is start loving yourself a little bit and giving yourself that you're stronger than what you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And with that is that, you know, recovery, when we come into it, is we're a mess. There's a lot of things that we need to work on. There's a ton. And my advice is that pick the most important thing that you have to really work on and focus on that. And then, you know, after time, you know, start working on something else. But, you know, recovery is a life process deal. And working on, you know, I got told in counseling that, you know, there's only one way to eat an elephant, and that's one bite at a time.
Right at a time.
And
Yeah.
so you know, it's going to get there. It sometimes it's not as fast as you want it, but dude, progress is progress. And start going with the biggest thing that you're that you got going out for you.
Absolutely. Ronnie, you want to go last or you want to go next?
No, I can go next. I just been writing all kinds of stuff down because I just got all kinds of good stuff. So I was be saying, well, be honest, for me in the beginning, it was really hard to find somebody to reach out to. So I felt like I kind of had to. I was like one of those silent watchers, silent listeners. I kind of just stood in the back and listened to everybody and kind of tried to figure out what, like, if I was watching this group, this group, this group, or this group, and like what this group could offer me or this one. And I would take it in. I would try to do it by myself. At first, what I had to do was I wrote it down. I journaled, because at first it wasn't easy for, like I said, for me to find a trusted person. And then I've learned really picky about who you choose to talk to. Like, honestly, when I first got in recovery, it's kind of like with church. When I think of church, I think, oh my gosh, everybody in the church is good. That's what I thought. And then I thought, oh my gosh, everybody in recovery is like so good. And, I had to learn that there's bad apples in everything. But I didn't know that. I was so naive to so many things. So I just learned to be picky about who I told what to, because at first I didn't. I was just, I was told, hey, expose it and you're free. And I was exposed to the wrong people and I wasn't free. I was packing more baggage because they were talking about me and making more drama and gossiping. So that was not right. So another thing is, I believe in the no matter what club. You know what I mean? I don't care what you've been through, what you're going through, how long you've been going through it. Like, we all got to come together and stick together. I don't care if you're on meth. I don't care if you're drunk. I don't care if you got mental issues or if you just, have a problem. Like, you're just addicted to eating. I don't care. Like, I don't care what you've been through. Like, don't go through it alone. There is somebody out there that has been through it, and I know it's scary, but just like you said, it's biting what, an elephant's butt piece by piece or something. That's what it is. I don't know what you said, but that's what it is. That's it. Maybe not the butt. You said butt, and he said elephant, and I combined it.
An elephant is one bite at a time.
One bite, one day at a time.
That's right.
Save that bite for last.
That's right. And one more thing, everybody's recovery looks different. I've learned, like, if somebody's in the MAP program and somebody's not, like, don't judge them, because that's what gets them sober. That's what keeps them successful. Like, don't judge them. Maybe everybody's like our fingerprints. Everything is different. We all need different things. What works for one could get the other one higher than a kite. You know what I mean? Right. So you always, do what's best for you and nobody else. But remember, we're from the It Don't Matter Club, and everybody's recovery looks different.
Facts.
Thank you, guys.
There it is.
I could throw something on top of that. Real quick, I'm not going to be long. That's the problem today. People like to judge people off their recovery. and their recovery process, that's saving their life. At the end of the day, that's saving their life. It don't matter how they work, they recover, or what they're doing to stay clean and sober today.
Come on.
That's their fucking recovery. Fuck what
That's
everything
right.
else
Talk
is,
about
you
it.
know? You know, like it don't matter if it's a 12-step process. It don't matter if it's a spiritual process. It don't matter if they're working it alone and believing in something outside of a fucking 12-step process.
Come on.
They're staying clean and sober, you know? That's what it takes. You know, don't force something on somebody that's not working for you because you think it's going to work for them. Fuck all that. Let them people work their recovery. You know, that's their recovery at the end of the day.
You know,
Yeah, and one more thing. I wanted to say, anybody that needs help, my inbox is always open. So reach out to me, and that's all I wanted to say. I didn't say that a while ago.
My inbox is open too.
Absolutely. I believe all of our inboxes are open. But, you know, one thing I wanted to say in regards to what Matthew was talking about, judging someone, criticizing someone, belittling another human being has never added value to my life, ever. We need to stay in our lane, work with what's, you know, working for us, and you know, share that with other people those that are attracted to that, and mostly they're attracted to what is shown in us, what they see in us. It makes it attractive for other people. You know, these people these trolls that are out there that are condemning and belittling, making fun of people. Are putting these people at risk because, you know, some people are just hanging on by a thread, and just one negative comment, one name you call them, and they have no self-esteem right now, could be sentencing them to death. So,
amen.
Stay in your own lane, and if you're out there watching, I want you to know there is hope. You know, you're not alone. You're lovable. You know, you may not love yourself. Allow someone else to love you back to life for sure.
You are worthy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how you start. It matters. All it matters is that you get started. You know.
Yes. Take that first step.
You can't learn to drive in a parked car, right? You got to get in there and do some driving, right? You may have some mishaps. You may have, you know, some altercations. You may get lost, but you're doing it. You know, find out what works for you. You know, you're worthy of love, to give it, feel it, and receive it. You know, and find yourself a higher power to, you know, turn your life and your will over to. So
a higher power that does not manipulate.
You ever heard that song, Call on Tyrone? I'll be Tyrone, call on Tyrone. I'll love you till you can love yourself, you know? Real talk. I'm married, brother. You heard me? I'm married, but you can still call on me. I'll love you till you can love yourself.
That's the spirit.
I just want to add one thing before we end.
Yes, you're like, no 13 step.
No 13 step.
If you look at like manipulation and narcissistic patterns and behaviors, it comes from the stuff that we're hiding. That's why you gaslight and you do these things. Think about like Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy. If they would have been honest about what they were going through before they committed the things that they did, they might have never done those things. You know what I mean? Is that there was shame, there was guilt, and there was embarrassment in their feelings and their emotions before it got that far. They hit a lot of things, and then it festered into horrendous crimes and horrendous behaviors and horrendous actions. Is that, you know, honesty is a big part of our recovery. It's one of the hugest parts. And
you know
I honestly believe that that's where narcissistic and them types of behaviors come. It comes from the stuff that we try to hide.
If somebody's trying to help you and they're not being transparent, go to the next person.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Look, one time in my life, I was at that stage of addiction or struggling or whatever. And I know what it's like to be pushed away and, go figure it out yourself, you know, like that type of things. But when people came into my life and were willing to show me and guide me through this process, it was hard to accept because I didn't know who to trust, you know. But I am going to say, just trust the process. You lost everything probably already. What else do you have to lose besides to give it a chance? And once
Come
that
on.
chance occurs, life gets better. I can say
And
that from living experience.
And this shit is life and death, folks, for real.
Facts.
Absolutely.
You know,
Big
the quality of your life directly reflects what you feel you deserve. So
Facts.
find a way to build some self-esteem, and please don't look for validation on social media. It's not it. It's not it. These personal interactions that we're having right now, these are real, viable connections. You know, so don't listen to everybody on social media. Not everybody knows what they're talking about. Not everybody is living what they're representing either. There's a whole bunch of people out there living in an alternative reality off camera, off social media.
I got receipts to back it up. You heard me? You want to see receipts? I got them to back it up. You ain't got to be worried. I got them.
Man, if I can't trust Tyrone, I can't trust nobody.
That's right.
All right.
You got to trust Tyrone.
Thank you guys for being on here. Thank you for contributing.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me and allowing me to be a part of this. I look forward to doing it again. Thank you for everybody that chimed in, commented, posted your clean days.
We love you. Thank you.
Stuff very, very, touching, moving, and it just solidifies the fact that we do recover.
And love you guys.
Bye, guys. We love you. Have a great night. Bye. Love y'all. Bye-bye.